Hello everyone, it's me, it's Mr. Barkhorn, and today we are going to finish off the starter trio with Charizard. So now Charizard is a difficulty of Novice. He's a melee, kind of, and an all-rounder. His offense is 3.5 stars, his endurance is 3 stars, his mobility is 2.5 stars, and his scoring is 3 stars, and his support is half of a star. We'll talk more about why he's technically a melee hero as we get into his skills. Charizard is a very fun character to play, but can be difficult. So the two moves that you can start with at level 1 are Flame Burst and Fire Spin. Flame Burst attacks with a bursting flame. When this move hits, it leaves opposing Pokemon burned and increases the user's movement speed for a short time. So if you make contact with this, you move faster. We'll talk more about what happens with burning when we get to his passive. And then the other move that you can take at level 1 is Fire Spin. Fire Spin encircles opposing Pokemon in the area of effect in a vortex of fire. After this move hits, it deals damage over time and decreases the movement speed of opposing Pokemon, and they're burned if they're inside of it. Now at level 5, we can learn a different move. There we go. At level 5, we can learn Flamethrower. So Flamethrower attacks with an intense blast of fire. When this move hits, it leaves opposing Pokemon burned and increases the user's movement speed for a short time. And on upgrade, it just increases the damage and the damage caused by burning. So it will affect our passive, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So it's basically just Flame Burst, but bigger. And then we have Fire Punch. Fire Punch has the user punch with a fiery fist, dealing damage and shoving opposing Pokemon when it hits. It also leaves the opposing Pokemon it shoves burned. On an upgrade, it reduces the move's cooldown every time a basic attack hits, so you can get it off quite a bit once it's upgraded. And it's also a really good tool for Charizard to not only engage, but also escape. So now we're going to talk about the upgrades to Fire Spin, which you can get at level 7. The first is Fire Blast. Fire Blast blasts intense, all-consuming fire, dealing damage over time to opposing Pokemon, while the flame continues to burn on the ground and decreasing the movement speed of opposing Pokemon for a short time, and when it's upgraded, it just does more damage. The other is Flare Blitz. Has the user charge forward, cloaked in fire, throwing opposing Pokemon. It also grants the user a shield. And then on upgrade, it also reduces their movement speed. This is just another really great way for him to get in and or get out, but it also gives him a nice survivable shield. Fire Blast also has a bigger area of effect than Fire Spin, which is something to just keep in mind. But all of this is great. We're going to talk about probably Charizard's best thing, which is his Unite move. Charizard's Unite move, Seismic Slam, has the user fly up in the air, allowing it to move freely over obstacles. While this Unite move is being used, the user's basic attacks deal increased damage and leave opposing Pokemon burned. In addition, when the user deals damage to an opposing Pokemon, the user recovers HP. Using this Unite move again on a Pokemon from the opposing team has the user grab it and slam it onto the ground from the air. So, basically, you activate this and you get to move over terrain freely. You get increased damage on your auto attack. You get burns from your auto attack, which make you do more damage. Then you get HP while you're dealing damage, and you get the ability to activate it again to do a lot of damage with Seismic Slam. Now, Blaze is his passive. When the Pokemon is at half HP or less, its critical rate is increased, which is pretty straightforward. And then this is important, his basic attack deals continual damage, deals increased damage to opposing Pokemon that are burned, and increases in range when the user evolves. So, deals continuous damage. This is not a punch auto attack. It is a constant stream of fire dealing small amounts of damage quickly. He does increased damage to opposing Pokemon that are burned. If you remember in all of our abilities, we had a lot of focus on burn, and when he becomes Charizard, it becomes almost like a mid-range attack. It's really interesting. So that's Charizard. We're going to get into a game, see if we can get our big orange lizard, and we'll talk about items. So we did successfully get in here and get Charizard. And it looks like the last time that I played Charizard, I had the scope lens on, and it is pretty good, but some items have just been sort of popping up as really, really good, especially if you're starting out in learning. So what I end up deciding to do is I trade out the scope lens. I believe it's let's see, I'm debating about the muscle band here. But I do think that the increase in damage is really way too good, so we change out the scope lens for the focus band. This just gives us more survivability, and especially with his Unite move, you can really turn a fight and have the enemy be totally caught off guard. So those are my 3 items for this one. And we're going to jump in the game here. We like to start off with Flame Burst. I've seen people go both ways with this, because you can do a lot of really great early harassment with Fire Spin on the ground, but for me, I like Flame Burst for the movement speed, because the faster we can get to this Audino, the better. We do take Fire Spin at level 3. So Flame Burst, as you've seen, is a nice long-range targetable ability. We fire it out, we do some damage, and we get some move speed, and you see Fire Spin there on the ground as well. Has a similar reticule. I do make a few mistakes while I'm aiming in this one. This Pikachu really interested in harassing us, and our Mr. Mime doing a pretty good job of trying to protect me. There's the Squirtle in the upper bushes up there, and we do still have the Pikachu beating us up. We do whatever we can to try and get this Audino, but we give up on it just because there's far too many enemies. We do have our Frogadier show up, which gives us a lot of goodness. Somebody knew that Mr. Mime Wall was coming, and they flashed right through it. Their Frogadier shows up, so we are just trying to get out. And our first thought here is we're just going to be. I was like, let's just find... I was debating whether I even wanted to try and get in the bushes, but we're just going to go back to our base, get our health back, not die, thus not giving them any experience, and rush on back as fast as we can. Now our Mr. Mime, it does look like he either died or he beat as well, so great minds if that's the case. We decide we're going to take out this Corphish, and we fire off both of our abilities there. And you'll notice with our auto attack that we've got our nice sort of big... what am I thinking? Not breeze, but like a wave of fire. And we can also move while we're firing it. This is probably the #1 thing to take advantage of when you're playing Charmeleon Charizard, is your ability to move around. Now you'll notice as we evolved, our attack range is now bigger. And we are able to maneuver very normal speed while we're attacking. We did also pick up Fire Punch. You see we get a good Fire Punch as Mr. Mime throws them into the wall as well. We do think we're going to get the War Turtle, but his eject button gets him out of there, and we decide that we are just going to try and score, but the War Turtle has other means. But fortunately, our Focus Band saves us during the course of this, so that extra tankiness and that heal at the end is just so good. So we are debating whether we want to get involved in a fight here. Throw out the Fire Spin poorly. I press a lot of really weird buttons. We use Fire Punch to get out of that one. And we're just going to keep getting this Corphish. I'm going to punch him, I'm going to throw some fire on him. I have to get better at my Fire Spin placements. I'm aware of that. But we're going to take Fire Blast at our level 7 talent. And you'll see here, even though we are very much losing our base right here, or at least starting to, that we're able to use Fire Blast in a pretty interesting way soon. And it's a way that I think a lot of people don't necessarily think of. You know, a lot of folks, when they're playing, they're like, this is strictly to murder things. But we are able to use this to defend our base pretty well at one point of this video. Now, this was very risky of us jumping in here like this, but I saw our Mr. Mime, I was feeling kind of confident, and I do manage to get out as the enemy was retreating. Now, I do believe our fight over Dreadnought is going to be happening here very soon. Pardon my yawn. I'm going to pick up this Audino. There's a big old team fight happening up here. This is a great spot for a Fire Blast. As you'll see, it takes up the whole lane. It slows anyone that's in it. It burns them. It is a really great move when it hits. I do wish that it was a little easier to control where the circle is going to be. Sometimes it can be hard to know exactly where that circle is going to be depending on how your moves are lined up. So you'll notice we are just sort of kiting this Dreadnought away. We accidentally eat the water gun there, and we throw the Fire Blast down there hoping that the last take of damage would be from us, but unfortunately the enemy does pick it up. So we have lost many of the allied team. Rotom just got up to the top base, and we are going to use Fire Blast here, like I mentioned earlier, to actually just defend our base. They don't want to go in there, and that gives Mr. Mime enough time to get back, and we actually save this base with a well-placed Fire Blast. We do try to snipe the bee from the Greninja there with very little luck, unfortunately. And we're just going to keep getting experience. It's the #1 thing you have to keep doing in this game. It doesn't matter how far behind you are. Obviously, it can be challenging. Oh, Pikachu coming in with an ult, hitting us with that Death Ball. Greninja coming in here as well. Mr. Mime doing whatever he can. We are basically just trying to survive at this point, and we are so close to level 9. We know that if we hit level 9, we have the ability to turn this fight around. And if I recall, I do get a little overzealous at being level 9, but you'll also see that we basically managed to nearly, or at least survive on a 3v1 because Mr. Mime just died there. So we go and throw the Fire Blast in, and we throw our ult out. We do lose the base, but you'll notice we're flying over everyone. We're doing damage. We're not taking a whole bunch of damage. And I do just barely miss using the oh, I pressed my button the wrong way there. That's why I died. I forgot to use the end of my Unite move, which was the Seismic Slam, and that might have even kept me alive a little bit longer. Awesome. So we're level 9 now. Heading down to the bottom because Dreadnought is going to be coming up soon. We still have the Snorlax bothering the hell out of some of our listener Greninja, and we are just going to get right back into getting EXP. I cannot stress it enough, folks. You need to keep gaining experience. You cannot focus on just beating the enemy Pokemon because you won't level up very quickly. You will just continuously die to them as they get stronger and stronger and stronger. So we are headed on down to the Dreadnought now, and there is a bit of a team fight happening here. We do manage to pick up the kill on the Greninja, and enemy team pushes them off, or the allied team pushes them off very nicely. We come in here, we're beating up the Dreadnought, and we do have our ultimate, which came back fairly quickly, which was good to know. We do manage to stop the Snorlax, and we go ahead and throw our ult up. We take down the Snorlax, we wait for Pikachu to get a little lower, we activate the Seismic Slam, and he dies. So that is actually a very good example of when to use Charizard's Unite move. Greninja having trouble with the Blissey down here. I always wonder if like continuing to push this is a great idea, but it does work out in this case because the Greninja does get the double execute there. And 2 of our Pokemon end up scoring, or one of them, Mr. Mime ends up scoring. And we decide we're going to back up because let's not lose points with only 2 minutes left. You need to be you need to pay so much attention to the 2-minute mark because there's so many things that can happen. Sometimes it's better not to score at 2.5 minutes if you feel confident in your ability to score at 2 minutes, because obviously at 2 minutes you get double points and Zapdos arrives. So this whole next 2 minutes is a great example of a couple things. One, if you have a lot of points, sometimes even just showing yourself at an enemy base will draw them off of Zapdos. The longer you can draw them off of Zapdos, the better chance you have of there not being a sort of roulette spin on Zapdos. So we keep trying to come up here. We're trading kills in the middle. We decide we're going to get our 100 points up here, which is a big old pickup. And then we go back down to Zapdos. We have our Unite move. Everything is looking good. And no one is attacking Zapdos yet. So, with a minute left, the question becomes, do we try to kill Zapdos, or do we, knowing that we have the lead right now after my score, do we, especially after that notification, we know that, do we kill Zapdos? I decided to get a little bit of damage on it just to see it, and I see the enemy coming in. And I see that Mr. Mime is really low. And so I decided, you know what's actually going to be better here? Let's defend Zapdos. If we defend Zapdos, they can't kill it, and the clock just goes down. We do get taken down by Greninja here. And we're going to only be alive for a small portion of the game once it comes back. But our Greninja has been doing a phenomenal job of picking up these kills. And they are just going back to play defense. Even if they get Zapdos at this point, it's not going to make a difference. They can't even make it to the bases in time unless they unless they've got, you know, abilities that are going to speed them up. So we play defense. Crustle does a great job up top. We get up here. We try to do the jump pad on, and I don't think we interrupt anyone, but we do end up winning this game because we chose to play defense against the enemy team. So that's Charizard game. Very straightforward, easy in idea, sometimes difficult in execution. A lot of people think Charizard is low tier, and while I understand how that logic works, sometimes I feel like low tier is just a Pokemon that people haven't figured out how to use yet, or at least use in the most effective manner. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the game. I'm Mr. Barkhorn. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content, and I'll make sure to have another Pokemon Unite tutorial video coming out soon. If there's any one or any build you'd like to see in particular, throw in a comment. I'd love to hear it so I can make it up for you. But with that said, have a great day.